latest news on the convention, and I guess I'll start there. The convention, the kind of truncated, shorter version of the convention we'd planned for Billings the second week of November has been canceled due to, the COVID surge in Yellowstone County, and really the fact that Yellowstone County is applying restrictions in that county. And we were one of the groups that was canceled just due to the restrictions they're applying there. So I guess going back a week, the board had an emergency board meeting, which came up literally like 2 days, after this decision was made. And the structure for the annual meeting, the annual convention, because everyone valued, that the resolution session and reviewing policy and electing new officials to our leadership positions was incredibly important. So we're going to be meeting as districts. So districts are going to meet in person. You're going to meet in person with all your delegates from your district, and then have a district caucus, and then join a virtual delegate session that way. I guess there's still a lot of details to be worked on that. I don't know exactly how that's going to be organized, other than that I know the district director from each district will be there to kind of direct traffic and get us logged in. And then, Vice President Johnson will be kind of directing the meeting from there. Do you have any more details, Sue Ann, on kind of how that's going to be structured or anything to add?
Yeah, this sounds like almost like a technology disaster waiting to happen, but we're gonna do everything we can to make sure there will be a staff member at each of the districts to run, LCDs and computers. And it's our intention to just try to keep things running as smoothly as possible. And just like right now, that you would basically only see 11 people on a screen, or 11 participants, one of which will be Cindy out of the Bozeman office, and she will have parliamentarians with her and staff with her to help run the meeting. And then everybody should, the district directors and credentials people will be at every meeting, and they will take votes, and you will be able to speak, just like if you were to come up to the camera and say, Lane Nordland, Fergus County, this is what I think, yada, yada, and then, go back to your seat. So, we're going to try to keep it as normal as possible, but who knows?
I think it'll go smoothly. I guess I'm not too concerned about that. It'll be a different format. I do think it's good. I know there's a lot going on with COVID, and we want to keep everybody safe. But it will be good at least to be in person with our districts. So, and I guess a unique opportunity. I don't know what other districts are. I have a feeling we're going to have some people who always sign up as alternates who never make it to Billings, who will probably make it up to this. So we'll probably see some faces we're not accustomed to seeing at the convention just because of the shorter travel distance. So I guess trying to find the silver lining in all that. But so that's kind of the plan. There's a letter. John Youngberg sent out a letter. I know there's a post from Facebook. I know packets have been mailed. So, you should be getting more information from your county presidents and district directors on how that meeting will function shortly. So I guess as far as the rest of the convention goes, most of the other parts of the convention have been canceled. So there's still, I guess I'll move into the first kind of item of business we put on our list here on the agenda that Sue put together is we're still doing elections for our YF&R committee members from districts 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. And then, of course, the chair position. So I think it's important for all those people in those districts. So I know we have Lacey on the phone, Lane on the phone, Gwen's on the phone, just from districts that'll be electing folks. So we need to have, I guess, nominations for representatives from those districts for your district caucus. Is that correct, Sue Ann? So I guess that just being prepared, being prepared for your district caucus to show up to these meetings and be prepared with that information for your district director for those nominations. And if, someone's aging out, hopefully giving some thought to find someone to replace or fill in that position and step up. So I know that's important.
And also, JM, I'm recording this, so I will send it out to the rest of the committee.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah,
And then I
that's not
saw
on, so they,
that John had just commented that Caitlin Boyd had moved, so she's District 10, so that'll be something that we'll have to bring up with District 10 if they didn't already know about that.
okay, good. And just so that these guys hear it, but it's on record too, you're interested in serving as chair again?
I was just gonna get to that. Yes, I will run for the chair position again. So, and I guess at this time I'd open it up if there's anyone else who has any other nominations for the chair position. We could discuss those now, or you could just bring those. And those can also be brought on the floor as well at the delegate session. If you change your mind, just jump in and you can interrupt me. So I guess unless everybody has any comments on that, I'd move on probably to our biggest discussion point, or unless you had anything, Sue-Ann, to add on that other than just FYI for everybody in the odd number districts to be prepared. And then I guess District 10, it sounds like it's going to have an open position to be prepared to discuss those at your district caucuses. If nothing else, I'll move on. So I think the big discussion that Sue-Ann and I wanted to have, and the reason why we wanted to have this impromptu meeting tonight is, I know I felt strongly about we'd really push with the board to have the in-person discussion meet when we were planning the convention in Billings. Obviously that's changed. So we'd still really love to have a discussion meet because we still need to have someone win at the Montana state level to move on to nationals. They're still doing a national discussion meet. It will be virtual, but they're still giving away prizes. So it's a great opportunity, at least for those prizes. Sue and I have talked about many different scenarios. I think we could still host an in-person discussion meet and have a YF&R get together just based on the number of people. There's 20 people on our committee or 20 positions on our committee. That falls under a lot of those guidelines, and we could probably, meet somewhere in the state and be able to comply with all the social distance guidelines and get together, have a discussion meet. And I think that's the biggest question that Sue-Ann and I want feedback on from the group is, is the group interested in pursuing something like that? Would people show up if we did that? Or should we just move on to looking at a virtual event? Because I would love to have that in-person event because I just think the discussion meet is so much more meaningful in person. And I also think it'd just be good for our group to get together and honestly just be able to socialize, talk about what's going on in our different areas of the state and discuss some of our issues just, face to face, maybe have it, be able to have a social event, a dinner, or something like that. I think that would be really beneficial. But I guess at that point, I'll open it up if anyone has any comments or thoughts or ideas or discussion on what to do about having a discussion meet.
Do we have to have it that weekend or that week?
No. So that's a great point. So I'll give a little bit more background because that's a great question, John. So the board of directors is going to meet that week in person. So we're having our delegate session is going to be Tuesday the 10th. And then the board is meeting Thursday the 12th in Bozeman. And there's also going to be ACE graduation or ACE presentations and graduation is going to happen sometime that Wednesday, Thursday. So there is an opportunity to potentially work into a schedule where we would be potentially in Bozeman where board of directors would be able to come and watch discussion meet. It's logistically tough on time, but to answer your question, no, there's no constraint on us meeting that week. We could defer it to the next week. I think Sue-Ann says we need to kind of probably do it by the second week in December because our winner needs to go to needs to be passed along to the national AFBF for the national competition. And then I know one other consideration. I know we don't have any collegiates on the phone, but we would love to get some collegiates involved and be able to also host simultaneously a collegiate discussion meet. And Sue-Ann and I discussed today, although who knows with COVID how schedules are, but a weekend may work better for college students and maybe even work better for some of us too. So yes, our schedule is open.
So the only reason I was saying if we do it that week, I imagine a bunch of us on this call who might be interested in it, or who are they're probably delegates already, so they're going to be with their districts. And then also with the collegiate aspect, they get out that next weekend. Most of the colleges get out before Thanksgiving weekend, so it would really only have that week, I guess, before everyone parts ways to their home,
Yeah, that's a good point too. And yeah, and that Tuesday will probably be an all day, session, delegate session. So most of us, and some of us will still have to travel some to get to that location. So, and then, yeah, then we'd be asking to then travel again later that week. So, but yeah, we're not constrained by necessarily that week. Does anyone else?
I would agree. This is Lacey. I would agree that there is a lot of value in being able to do it in person. I just think, there's being able to read those people as you guys compete in the discussion meet. Obviously, I'm aged out, but if I can make it, I'm willing to be judge, timekeeper, whatever I need to be to help out. So I just think that I definitely think if at all possible, we need to figure out how to do it in person. Obviously, Sue-Ann, do you have any applications yet?
Well, not technically, but I did get an email from a Morgan Rose out of Prairie County, I think, which,
And she's from Dillon.
It's Morgan
Okay.
Kuntz.
yeah, there you go. That's who it is. I don't know her, but yeah, you're right. Her email was Morgan Kuntz. So she's interested. And also I saw Ben Johnson at the Front Range County Farm Bureau meeting, and it sounded like either him or Carly or both of them were interested.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
I just didn't know if you had a field geographically, but it's still kind of pretty open, huh?
yeah. Shoto to Terry is the only ones I've heard.
Right.
Hopefully a lot more people are interested in, and I would either pick a place that's somewhat centrally located, or if you are considering it to be kind of a destination, then, maybe it's a Fairmont or something where people actually want to go and,
Right.
for a night with their family or something.
Would like
Yeah.
Lewistown work, or you thinking Bozeman, or what I guess what works best for the staff, and then trying to get judges to come in? I guess that's, and how many rounds? Do you just do one, or do you do two, or like,
Well,
let's just say you only have 4 or 5 people apply. Do you?
Yeah, so we've always just really had, basically 2 rounds, really, like a round 1 and a final 4. And in round 1, it's like, how many can we get? I've always wanted 16. We've only got 12 since we've been giving the Ranger away. At this point, we're still giving away a $10,000 prize package. So I would hope we're not ending up with 4 contestants, but 8 to 12. But
Would be ideal.
that's like round 1 happens. Maybe it needs to happen simultaneously, really. And then a final 4. The collegiate is just a final 4. Like, we're not holding multiple rounds at the state level. They need to kind of weed them out at that level. And the collegiates could have it at a different time. If you feel like that's bogging this discussion down too much, they can just make their own decisions. But if we create a scenario that we feel like works best for your peers, your age group, yourself, then we pitch it to them. If they don't like it, they can do something different, or they could join us.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. We probably need to just kind of pick something and kind of figure it out and then pitch it to them and see if we can get their involvement. I don't know, Lane, to answer your question more about location. I don't know if Sue-Ann has any more thoughts. I initially thought Bozeman because, I think there's places there to host it. Staff is there or nearby, and it's somewhat centrally located. I love the idea of Fairmont, that because it's kind of a little bit of a vacation resort type of a destination too. That's what we wanted to discuss and kind of get some feedback on. It's probably not going to happen in Billings. I'd probably say that. I thought that we had a board meeting at the Calvert in Lewistown. That was nice. That was a nice venue, and that brewery was nice too. But I also know that's kind of a hot spot at the moment too. So I don't know how they feel about that. So
I think you're gonna have a pretty hard time getting people to show up to it anyway. So I think the sooner, if you guys actually do want to do it in person, better get a date and a location picked to give guys as much time as possible. But has anybody talked to Polaris about, is it fair to them? Are they getting enough recognition for not having the full convention show off the Ranger for everybody?
Yeah.
I guess we already have it, I guess. So I just feel bad for Polaris for having this fall on a COVID year.
Yeah. There's definitely things we can do for them, whether it's, we've done actually plenty of stuff on social media. We've done radio ads. They get free advertising in our publications for this program. I know that Kyle's very supportive of it. He's, those guys aren't, they're kind of hungry to keep doing business, and they're doing pretty good business these days. So I guess my one concern at this point would be to turn it back and have that create some kind of, awkward, I don't know, like that it might jeopardize the future of the partnership. But I can definitely talk to Kyle and have an honest conversation if you guys feel like.
Well, if we're only going to have 4 people show up to do it, I guess we'll just have to see how many people want to do it in person.
I think
wouldn't have a
less
problem
people would
going anywhere, but
if we didn't give away the Ranger, I feel like we almost shouldn't even do it, because
0.
people wouldn't show up to basically not go to San Diego and compete.
So what if we did something? I think you're kind of right, where we should kind of make it a destination, but we should make it easy. What if we did something like Chico, so that we can try and get some of these young folks to want to come do this, but then they can also spend their weekend, at Chico. But then it's also close for the Bozeman staff to get there when they have to get there. And, we can definitely probably round up judges pretty easily in that area too.
I do think Chico's very hard to get rooms. Like they book out so long, and maybe Fairmont is too, to be honest, but it seems like Chico's more difficult than Fairmont to get a room at. Because I just had a friend that said she was going this weekend, and she called like a week ago and they said, I've got a cabin. Do you want the cabin? She's like, I'll take it,
Yeah, I get you.
So, I can definitely I could look into it.
John, we'll just come up to the Sleeping Buffalo Resort and you can host us up on the High Line.
Oh, that would be just so fun.
I think probably just picking a place and then just seeing if it's available is probably the way to go, and maybe pick a 1, 2, and 3 and go from there. And then, whatever is available probably is what we're going to have to go with. This is Lee, by the way.
Hi, Lee. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We don't have a lot of time to probably, put a lot of, details in the plans. That's why, Bozeman would be, kind of straightforward, because we probably have some facilities that we can lean on that have done, we've worked with before. Fairmont's another good one. There's a little bit destination, maybe a little bit attracting people to come there, a little less centrally located. I think Shay's point's valid too. If we don't get that many people, is it really worth doing it? I just, I don't know what the part of me says that we'd have a huge outcry of people who would just like to get away and do something and see some folks. And then part of me says, well, no, with everything going on, everybody just wants to stay home. So, and then of course there's Montana weather that can always throw a curveball at us that time of year too. So, that's why we just kind of wanted to feel out the group and see, what feedback we got and see what motivation and if there was a real push to go one way or the other.
Joanne, do you have details on how Nationals is putting on their discussion meet virtually?
Yeah.
Or any idea how they're going to do that?
They have been very quiet about that, and I've been like jumping on these org director calls, and I've texted the YF&R coordinator, and he was like, I can tell you this, we will be giving trucks away. We will be giving prizes away. So I
But no details on whether they're doing
No.
that through Zoom or anything.
no. Yeah, I just
I don't know if we need to talk about that as a backup or.
yeah, I know that I know that some states have had to go virtual with the discussion meet, and I also know that there is kind of a little bit of a roadmap to do that has been put together either by American Farm Bureau or shared with by some of the other states. I haven't really looked into that because it wasn't something that we wanted to entertain. We were always going to do this in person. We were going to slide the YF&R discussion meet in here. And so I haven't done a lot of digging, but I sure can if anybody thinks that virtual would have more participation or be worth it, or we could get more of an audience, or whatever the case may be.
I think we should just pick Bozeman as a spot. At the end of the day, what's going to make us go virtual is if we get more cases, and we should just have it as a backup plan. But maybe let's just pick a hotel in Bozeman, get that going, put it on social media, and then I guess the other thing would be let's just get a date figured out for it.
Can we do it at the office? Do we need a hotel?
I think for social distancing, we're going to want to go to a hotel, just because of the office, it's just space. I think, just to be compliant with everything, I think we can go to a hotel. I assume that's what ACE is doing. I guess I'm asking Sven. I assume that's kind of what ACE is going to do for their presentations, but I don't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot we need to figure out still.
But yeah, I don't disagree with, I kind of like, I agree with John, and I was just kind of sitting here looking at the calendar. I mean, if we shot for that following week after the convention, that's the week before Thanksgiving, so there's a full week before Thanksgiving, and just pick a day. I don't know if anybody has a preference time of the week, and just pick a day and plan to have a day, and hopefully it. I guess we'd have to work out some logistics on that and think about that, but maybe a dinner, whether probably an arrival dinner, like arrive the night before, spend the night, and then be able to hit it, first thing in the morning. Maybe have a short meeting, round one of discussion meet. Maybe hopefully have a collegiate discussion meet, and then be able to depart by lunch, something like that. I know from a budget standpoint, we have the budget for that because of all the stuff we didn't get to do this year, so that shouldn't really be an issue, especially if we're doing it someplace like Bozeman as well. I like Bozeman because staff is there, and we can rely on kind of the home office there, and maybe even use the home office. I don't know. That's something we'd have to plan. We haven't planned that far ahead yet. Of course, as everyone knows, in 2020, a lot can happen, and a lot can change in that time frame that would put us in a different position than we're discussing right now, too. So.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we should do is Bozeman. Do that next week. Do it at the end of the week. One, because there's also graduation happening. So maybe Thursday or Friday, because maybe that'll be another draw for why people are going down there. And pick Thursday or Friday. Maybe Thursday night do a dinner. Friday morning do that, and then like you said, kind of depart around lunch or early afternoon, and folks can go do what they want to do.
Okay, so it kind of scares me putting something on Bozeman's graduation. Is Bozeman's graduation the 20th? Does somebody know that?
I didn't know that.
I don't know if it's probably Saturday. So isn't that the 21st?
Oh, okay. So you're saying the 20th.
So do a dinner on the 19th, and then on the 20th do the event.
Is Bozeman, are they actually going to be walking? Or are they going to shut that down?
I don't know.
I haven't, but my guess is there won't be as many events as there typically is.
Can't imagine them allowing an audience for graduation in Bozeman.
I can't either. Let me just ask somebody.
It'd be a lot bigger deal than the farm bureau
We want to
convention.
find out about.
What's everybody's? Does anyone else have any thoughts on kind of that proposal? You know, kind of that later that next week after what would be our annual convention, where we're gonna have our delegate session, and so that's the John's proposing the 19th and 20th of November. That's a Thursday and Friday in Bozeman, for a small YF&R event. Hopefully a social and then discussion meet, awarding a ranger. Does anybody else? Any other thoughts on that?
Because I just want to make sure a Friday doesn't like scare people because it's a work. I mean, some people work, some people farm, ranch. I get it. So I don't. I mean, if we can get somebody there, I want to do everything we can to get. I don't want to create obstacles, I guess.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't have a good feel for that because I'm kind of as far as days of the week go, it doesn't matter much to me. So I don't have a good view into that. So that's something else. Other folks would have to give some input on that.
Well,
Weekend would be better for me, but I could probably make either one work.
oh, so that's Sunday.
Do you guys
well-
worry about college kids having finals that week? Is that finals week or not? Is the week
Yeah,
before?
it is. It would be.
Yeah, and I don't know. I know Western's schedule would be different. I don't know, and it might just be too much to try and plan. Getting the collegians involved may or may not work. That's difficult to say. Like I don't know that we can factor all those things in and try and plan something.
So let me ask this, like, or maybe it's too much to put these two things in the same week, but what about Friday the 13th as opposed to Friday the 20th?
I like that. I'll just say I like that because then we do have the potential. We could potentially have some board members who would watch. You're gonna have Ace.
I'm gonna
in Bozeman. We might have some more Farm Bureau folks that we could have involved.
Does somebody have something to add?
I agree. That sounds a little better. It seems like it's been a few years, but it seems like that Friday before finals, Thursday, Friday before finals is a little kind of a dead week type. I don't know, whatever you guys think.
I think it would be easier not interfering with graduation too. I get that it's only, whoever posted only two tickets per person, but it always seems like it's hard to get stuff in Bozeman when there's other stuff going on. I don't think we want to try to compete with that, I guess, stuff going on. If we can do it the week before, I think that'd probably be better.
Does anybody see any issues with, like, if you potentially travel that Tuesday, you may potentially devote a whole day that Tuesday at your own district meeting, so then you turn around and either potentially have to travel Thursday afternoon or Friday early morning, depending on how far you are. Does anybody see any issues with that?
Gwen,
I
are
guess
you?
my question is, how many of those are gonna overlap? As far as people, are we worried more about the college students?
No, I was asking like members of this committee. That are going to participate in those district, those district meetings that'll be part of the delegate session that Tuesday, and then ask us then to travel to Bozeman that Thursday afternoon, Friday time frame to do something like this. That was the concern of kind of that week was, we're already devoting probably one full day, and then turn around and at least another day and a half with travel.
Right.
I know that like Gwen and
You-
we won't be able to come do that because they're doing their FFA competitions that weekend. So I don't know if there's other people that are going to be conflicting in that too.
Yeah, there's
Just
gonna
run
be
contests.
2 other people on the committee who are also helping with contests around the state on Friday and Saturday of that week.
Yeah, and are you guys doing those all around the state? Is that all around the state those same days?
Yeah, I'll insert a subtle hint for everyone to come volunteer right now. No. Yeah, we're hosting FFA contests at 14 different locations instead of doing our contests on campus like we usually do for our John Deere Ag Expo. So it's a hybrid deal, so that's why we're doing in-person stuff that Friday and Saturday. And then the virtual stuff wraps up that Thursday.
So there's 2 committee members for sure that would be involved, and I know you're trying to get more of a 2.
There was about 4, I think. So John and myself, I think Mark might, and then Clayton might.
Okay.
I have a suggestion if I can.
Yes, sir.
As much as I want to do it in person as well, I think we should also talk about, before we end our call today, also the possibility of having a backup Zoom meeting. It'd be good practice for the national one as well, for the discussion meeting.
Yeah, I think Zoom's our backup right now. I don't know. I think that's kind of the case right now, Zach. I think you're right. And it seems,
I guess Sue-Ann could kind of keep us updated, but based on the number of applications she gets for an in-person one, if she only gets 4 or 5 applications, then maybe we look at going to Zoom. I don't know whether we'd have less or more participation on a virtual one. Maybe we'd have 20 people do it because they could just stay home and sit there and do the discussion meet, or maybe we would only have the same 4 people. I don't know, but I don't know if that on the number of people we have apply. Granted, normally at convention we sign a whole bunch of people up the day of, so there's that.
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's that in-person element that we're we kind of miss that when we have the convention, and we can twist some arms and get some folks that have been involved motivated to come be involved because we all are in Billings anyway. So that's definitely a challenge of all this too. Engagement at all levels, just because without that face-to-face in-person contact, there's a lot of stuff that falls through the cracks that we don't capture on a meeting like this. So
Well, I guess I'll ask too, and maybe this is what Zach was asking, but I mean, would you guys rather see us putting more emphasis on a virtual? I mean, we definitely initially, after JM and I talked, wanted to do what we could to try to make it in person, but or do what Mark said, see how many takers you get in person. I think it's just kind of difficult, right? So it's, if we don't pick a date and I don't know if we're just out there like surveying all of our YF&Rs, that doesn't feel good. It feels like we kind of need to make a decision rather than like saying, oh, we didn't get that many, so now we're not doing that.
yeah, I agree.
I do like the idea of doing the Zoom for actual practice for the national one, because then that person's going to know how that's going to be. And right now that seems to be the roadblock, because we can't figure out when we're going to do it and where we're going to do it. And Zoom, we can do it anywhere, anytime. So I kind of am now also agreeing with just going virtual.
I think a good point to make would be, say we do decide on a place and a time. I think it'd be nice to offer it up front that in the case that we are unable to hold it in person, this would be plan B. Just to let them know that no matter what, we're going to do it, and this is what you can expect. if they change restrictions on us again. I mean, rather than it coming last minute and lose an opportunity, that might be something to consider.
I think if you communicated that up front, like Zach was saying, I think that'd be fine. And especially if we were doing it somewhere like the conference room, but I don't want the staff to have to reserve a place and then cancel it just because we don't have enough people either, because that's kind of a waste of time. And I mean, depending on when you make that call, I don't know if you'd be charged any cancellation fees as well.
Sue-Ann, do you have any concerns with Polaris and if we did a virtual discussion meeting awarding the Ranger? I mean, is that something we need to discuss with them before we make a decision to go all virtual? Or
I actually I don't think that they're really concerned. I had talked to Kyle about the fact that, I'd already kind of apologized that our convention was going to be small and that this was all going to look very different. And he was very understanding of that. I mean, everybody's in this scenario. It's not where we want to be. So I think that ultimately they are, unconditionally supportive, not maybe unconditionally, because we have to hold up our end of the bargain, but we still do talk about them a lot. They're all over our social media. It was my intention to still do plaques, say thank you. We tag them, we do radio ads for them. We do advertising. So, I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff. Yes, they realize they're missing this kind of big 400, 300 person event, but they also know that 300 people events just can't happen this year.
Well, these guys are making, compared to other businesses, ATV, outdoor equipment, campers, they've actually had a hell of a sales year over the past few months just because people want to get out and do things. So I'm not worried about their sales revenue at all when you look at the actual projections of outdoor recreational vehicles and even tractors. I mean, that end of things have actually been doing really good. So I think they'd be more mad if we didn't give it away.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Lane, because I think that's, if we chose to just straight up cancel the event, I think that's a risk we'd run, is that they'd have money to essentially spend on something like this, and they just find someone else to take that spot. So I think it's important that we do the event regardless of whether we are able to meet in person or go all online.
I guess I just thought of another option to consider. What if we did the opening round 1 virtually, the final round in person at the YF&R committee meeting? Just so we have way too many options to consider in the meeting. That way we could put the final 4 in, on camera, in person, on social media, and still have a first round that maybe you'd have people in the far reaches of eastern Montana or wherever, or Shoto attending as well. And then they'd have incentive to attend the final round.
Actually, it doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Oh, all right, you go ahead. I was just saying you could do the first round early in the week. Everybody could do it from home, and then you could have everybody, the top 4, pick for that weekend and do it in the middle of the R-bar or something.
Yeah, I guess I agree. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking. I mean, that's a good idea, Mark. I mean, if we could do, I'll just propose this as it kind of flows in my mind. I mean, if we could do round 1 like Monday evening, virtually, and hopefully we'd have a minimum. I think we have to have a minimum of 8, but if we had 16, great. 4 rounds or 4 groups, and then ask the 4 winners to come to Bozeman, and then we could do it. If we're just doing 1 round, I know there's going to be some events. Probably a dinner with the board of directors and ACE people. If we could do it like before that, after the dinner, we'd have an audience of our some of our peers and supporters. And I don't want to speak here a little out of tongue too much, but I would suppose we could really help out those 4 people with their travel expenses to make it to Bozeman. And then you kind of get, the best of both worlds. You're getting hopefully that virtual, we're not asking 20 people to show up. Travel logistics are a little bit easier, and we're really just leaning on those 4 people. Although we probably need a pretty firm commitment from everybody who signed up that if they made it, they would have to commit to making that trip to Bozeman to compete and be that face and be able to give that Ranger away. In front of at least our board of directors and some of the other folks, a very small group of Farm Bureau folks who will be in Bozeman for those events.
Yeah, I like that idea.
That sounds kind of appealing to me.
Because then that way you might get 8 or 12. You might get 20. Who knows? Due to the virtual, but then that way we at least have enough folks to make sure. And then, I mean, if I was eligible, I'd be. Maybe I am. Is Sue-Ann, has COVID changed the eligibility requirements? But 4 people having a chance at $10,000. I would be driving anywhere if that was the opportunity for you.
Yeah.
So I think
the final 4, the chosen final 4 would find a way to get there if they had a 1 in 4 chance at a Ranger, I would think.
I would think so. Absolutely.
I think you still might
Lacey,
run
you
into
want me to make a motion? Do we need a motion for something like that, or what's the plan?
I move to adopt Shay's recommendation.
That was
Mark.
Mark's.
Oh, was Mark's?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was Shay.
Give credit where credit's due.
The Moscow Mule is hitting me a little hard right here. Sorry.
I'll second Mark's suggestion. That sounds good to me, because then you could have 24 people show up, and then we just have to keep maybe a little bit better score on the alternates, in case somebody couldn't make it or the weather was bad. Somebody could be on call maybe if we had a better idea on how the scoring went, or if we kept score.
Well, I would think that would be one advantage of going to the virtual is we should be able to have plenty of people judging. Finding judges to sit down in their, in front of the computer and watch, I would think would be easier. It may be in some respects easier to do than even at the convention when we're trying to, get people to, come from a different, something else that they may want to go attend to do that. I want to pause here for a minute. Someone was jumping in with a comment right before Lane jumped in with that motion, and I think it got walked on. So I'm not sure who it was. Was there someone who had a comment?
I was just gonna say, I think this is still gonna limit your people of going to Bozeman, just because they know that that's a commitment. Now, maybe that's what you want to do, but all 20 of those people are gonna think that they have a really good chance of being in the top 4. So if they don't think they can make it to Bozeman, then they're not gonna do it. I think we should just do it all virtually, to be honest, and then we can do it at whatever time, and we'll have more people do that. We've got money. I'd say we throw some money at some Facebook ads and things, and obviously we'll vet them to see if they're actually Farm Bureau members, but let's get some competitors and actually do it that way.
I think if they can't make it a priority to take the time out of their schedule to be there, they need to relook at their priorities.
You really
but
don't.
we say that every time, and then we get these people who sign up the day of,
So
sort of
wait,
thing too. So
I think we just want to clarify, the people, the 12, the 8 or 12 would participate virtually. We would announce the final 4 then as quickly as we could, and those final 4 would be the only ones coming to Bozeman.
Yeah.
And historically, we've always required the Final 4 to go to Billings anyway for the awards ceremony.
Or stay in Billings.
Which the benefit of having the Final 4 compete in person is you can have all 4 of them there on your Facebook Live and then announce it with them, and maybe the Polaris people can come. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure we could get somebody from Polaris to give
lives in Bozeman, yeah.
in Bozeman. Yeah.
I think if you're going to commit, I see what John's saying there, but if you you have a 1 in 24 chance going to Bozeman if you make it. I'm going to be pretty excited to go and try to win a razor. And if I had something else come up, then you just take the number 5 guy, because I think you were trying to say there you're going to announce the winner to it on Tuesday morning, the top 4. So
yeah, you'd have to announce them as soon as possible. Yeah, I think it's good. I think we could pretty, safely say that would probably be most of your expenses paid trip to Bozeman too.
yeah.
Hey, guys.
I think it's a pretty good deal. I agree. I understand John's point, but I think it's a pretty good deal. And like you said, Shay, if you hopefully we'd get enough participants who would participate virtually, and then we'd have people alternates to go to if people couldn't, because anything can happen in Montana. It could be the weather or something else. So
I think it would be kind of cool to also create a little hype and have somebody, either Hans or Cindy or JM from his meeting, announce this to the whole group on Tuesday morning.
yeah, because we could make it. We'd be able to make a little bit of a spectacle at it during the delegate session. So there'll be opening remarks, and we would have an opportunity to make a little bit of a spectacle of it in front of our entire delegate floor too.
My last comment is, do you guys feel like Sunday afternoon, evening might be better, giving the people the ability, like, to get grandparents and stuff to watch kids and that kind of thing, to make it more for people to have time to do it, rather than trying to get home from work Monday night and do it while trying to plan to be somewhere Tuesday?
Good point.
Yeah, like I said before, days of the week wouldn't matter much to me. So that's definitely somewhere where, like that feedback list is pretty important. I don't see why we couldn't do it on Sunday. If it was Sunday, then you could do it, say evening, maybe a little bit more late afternoon. I do know, bedtime at our house is about 7:30. So if you told me it was going to happen at 7:30, that would be tough for me too.
It could definitely be.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
After
Sunday
church,
afternoon,
before dinner, that kind of thing.
How about for like the judging? You could have the same judge for all the groups, right? If you just recorded them and then the same judge could watch them, that'd be kind of handy. You wouldn't have to find a bunch of judges if someone was recording it, I guess.
Yeah, there's some logistics here that
we'll have to think through probably.
Figure out a few things about this, but I mean, anything's doable. So like, let's just assume we can make anything happen.
Can I win JM's pickup there in the background? I think I'd rather have that than a Ranger. I could get a lot more use out of that. Is there an engine in it?
There is.
Oh, sweet. There we go. I'll take that one.
The Pentica truck.
Okay,
I don't think I'm going to give that one away. So I guess back to business. We had a motion, a second. We've had discussion. So the motion was to do a virtual first round with a in-person final round that would be in Bozeman sometime during that week. That would probably coincide that we would try and schedule with what's going on with board of directors and ACE and kind of work that around there.
and
Is anyone opposed? I'll ask that first. Is there any nay votes?
To be honest, I was going to do it this year, and I won't be able to do it this way. So and I know that just sucks for me, but just because I know that weekend I can't get down to Bozeman. If we did it within the time frame that we typically do convention, like I already have that blocked off, I would rather it be, how it's done at convention, you just have to get to Bozeman or whatever by then. But
so John, I mean,
spreading it out over the whole week.
I will say this too. I don't think that we're necessarily saying that this has to be like Friday or Saturday. Like it could be Wednesday
probably
night,
going to be Thursday.
or it could be Thursday morning.
Yeah.
I mean, And it could be Wednesday night. It could be a Wednesday evening. Or
So then, okay. Because at this point, what I would like do, and I live on the Highline, I'm an idiot, but I try and fly. You know, if I did get
I think we're losing you, John.
final
yeah,
four,
we can't hear you.
far away to try and figure it out and make sure they have. Can you guys hear me?
We're kind of losing you.
We
Here,
couldn't
one second.
really.
Well, I guess I think John was the only nay vote. Doing yay votes on Zoom is difficult, so I'm going to assume that everyone else is yay vote and that our motion passed. I think on John's point, we're not going to be able to accommodate everyone's schedule, period. So I think we just got to pick a plan and go with it. And I think as far as the collegiates go, Sue-Ann, we can, propose something that coincides with our time. We're going to have to turn some levers on the timing and all the logistics of this and see if there's even something to propose to the collegiates. And if not, we're probably just try and schedule a collegiate event at some other point. Correct, Sue-Ann? I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
I think this is the best plan we have. Right
So
now, and it seems like there's a lot of good buy-in on it, so I like it.
I mean, I will also say the collegiate discussion meet was scheduled for, I think, 10 or 11 a.m. on Wednesday, the 11th. I mean, we could always, again, just kind of push it back to, later in the afternoon on a Wednesday so that Ace and the board are maybe there, or maybe like a Friday morning. Either way, I'll probably end up just talking to the collegiates and seeing if they can work it in somewhere around that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in Bozeman.
I think that's the best we can do. So Sue-Ann, like going forward, are we like, I know we've already been here an hour, so I don't want to keep everyone too long, but
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're gonna run with this plan. I mean, do you and I mean, you'll probably do most of the heavy lifting, but kind of work on some of the logistics of this and get a message out to the group as soon as we can. And so we can start advertising for it too, and kind of like when that Final Four would be and how we could mesh it with everything else going on, and then start planning the logistics of those virtual discussion meets and get applicant forms out and ready. And
Yeah. So I'll get to work tomorrow and try, to get some of these things ironed out. Like, how does ACE and the discussion meet and the board meeting, how does that like best all fit together? And so then I'll definitely just be in constant communication. I'll also dig up, what it looks like to do virtual, or kind of what the parameters were that these other states and AFBF had in place. And I'll share all of that information. And it's, it just like, we're going to have to we kind of have a, like, a little bit of
a framework.
Yeah, like a framework, but it's like, we just have to kind of be a little bit flexible within that so that we can work it all out. But within the next couple days, I hope that's the case. And, really for those who intended to do this anyway, it's the same week. It's really the same time frame.
Yep, it is.
Tweaking it all that much. So, but we'll just try to get our act together as soon as possible, and so that we can get it announced.
Hey, Sue-Ann, just out of curiosity, would it have been Wednesday night or Tuesday night?
What, the Final Four?
Would have been Tuesday. It
Yeah.
would have all been
Tuesday night.
Tuesday. So it would have been
Everything would have been Tuesday.
Yeah, the first rounds would have happened Tuesday morning, like 10 o'clock, and then
Right.
the final round would have been like during dinner on Tuesday night. That's how it would have been scheduled. That's how we fit it in there.
Okay. I mean, I do see John's point. I mean, I hate to take him out, not just John, but people in general that might have been planning for it, but I mean, I don't think Tuesday's feasible now.
No, Tuesday's not feasible the way everything's been reorganized with this the way the convention is. I mean, everything's been kind of fluid. Everything's been very fluid. So and just because we thought this is a great idea and we think it might work doesn't mean it won't change. But I think this is a good plan. I mean, like I said, I think it's important that we have it. We need to have it. We need to award the ranger. We want to award the ranger. We want someone in our organization to walk away with that $10,000 prize. That's a huge prize. I hope people are motivated to come and participate on the Zoom, because like you said, if we got 16 people, you got a 4 in 16 chance. You got a 1 in 4 chance of getting, essentially advanced to the Final Four and having then a 1 in 4 shot at winning a $10,000 ranger. So I think that's pretty cool. Obviously it's not going to work in everybody's schedule. But I think we just got to take that for what it is. And, I think take this plan that I think we have the most buy-in and make it work the best we can and go from there. So I guess with that, Sue-Ann and I'll be working on some details, and we'll get information out to the group as soon as we can on kind of how we're going to put that together and more details on the timing. I like Lacey's idea of kind of shooting for Sunday afternoon to do that virtual event, and then we'll have the plans worked out for that Final Four and how that's going to meld with what else is going on that'll be in person that week in Bozeman, and we'll go from there. Couple other things. I'll move on. I know we've been here an hour. Hoofing It for Hunger fundraiser. I just want to thank everyone on the committee for all the hard work on that. Last I knew, we'd raised over $6,000. So we raised our goal. See, where's John at? Is John still? Do we ever get John back? I mean, because I know John back at the summer conference. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but John was one of the guys who stepped in there and said, "Yeah, we got to do something to raise money for that." And everyone on the committee agreed. And I'll tell you what, early in the summer, I was pretty nervous that we'd come close to the goal, and the board was skeptical of just donating that much money without us getting to raise some. But we've raised $6,000. A lot of our county farm bureaus have been major contributors to that, and that's because our voices were there at those meetings. I just want to thank everybody. That's been really successful. So we're going to have, and that's something else we'll probably try and do sometime in that week is hopefully be able to present. I don't know if we'll be presenting Food Bank Network so much with a check as just saying, hey, here's how much money our young farmers and ranchers helped to raise for Montana Food Bank Network. So we did do a Facebook Live with, and I can't think of his name right now, the director of Montana Food Bank Network. And I know he was very appreciative of our efforts. And it sounds like more than ever, there's so much more need for that in 2020 that it's really timely for us to be doing that. So I just want to thank everybody for their help on that. And there's still opportunity to raise money too. So, Sue-Ann, do you have anything to add on that?
No, and really anything we do with the check presentation at this point will probably be something very minimal and virtual, but we'll just do as much as we can to get recognition for that on social media or whatever. So, but yeah, that's it.
I know, Sue-Ann, do you want to touch on, you had the 2021 update AFBF convention and all of that stuff?
Yeah, so this is all just fast. This is just American Farm Bureaus, all virtual. The only thing I'll encourage about that is, and there'll be information coming out, but tons of keynote speakers, workshop topics, things that you would see at American Farm Bureau are still going to be all provided virtually and then also on demand, which means you don't have to be there at 10 o'clock on Monday morning or whatever. You can watch it later. So that's pretty cool. It's all free. It's a ton of information. And so I would just encourage you guys to watch for that. And, obviously we'll keep you in the loop as to what goes on with the national level competition for YF&R too. So, and then I think, I'm not looking at that piece of paper right now, but,
you're calling on the Capitol.
Oh, calling on the Capitol.
And I don't have anything for calling on the Capitol.
Yeah. Is
that kind of up in the air?
It's probably not going to happen. It sounds like they're really going to be limiting any of the public being in the Capitol. So they might allow lobbyists. I mean, all of this stuff, basically it's getting kicked down the road at this point, waiting until after the election for new leadership to make this decision. But there's never been a scenario proposed where it's business as usual. So, I mean, our organization is operating under the assumption that we won't be basically kind of allowed in the Capitol unless it's Nicole and Rachel as our lobbyists or registered lobbyists only or something like that. So I think YF&R calling on the Capitol is probably a no-go, but we'll stay in touch. Fusion, the National YF&R Leadership Conference, but also with Peony and Women, that's in Portland in March. And I just get cryptic emails from the American Farm Bureau that says, we're monitoring the situation. Thank you for your feedback. We have staff on, So it's just all this real PR wording that's basically like, we don't know if this is actually going to happen either. So even for the collegiates, it could be they could be looking at the same thing and just doing everything virtual again. So, which would be a bummer, but this is the way.
Yeah, we'll just have to play that one by ear. Wait
Yeah.
for more information. I just find it hard to believe that they would do it, but we'll see.
Yep.
I guess the other ones we had, Yalk is doing virtual events this week. I know there's one that's happening right now that you could be part of, and if you want to get off here and get onto the trivia, you can. I'll wrap up quickly. And I know the best way they're on Facebook and Instagram, so that's the best way to find out about them. They've been doing a pretty good job of advertising, so check that stuff out if you have time. And then I'll give a plug. ACE applications are out. I encourage everyone on the committee to apply. It's a great program. You learn so much about the issues, and it would be a very interesting year to participate in it because the issues will be different than anyone would have suspected they probably would have been a year ago. They bring in, some great speakers, also work on leadership and speaking skills, knowing about the issues. It's just some really great deep dives into some issues. And I just encourage everyone, it's a big time commitment. I believe it's once every other month for a couple days in Bozeman. But once you make it for the first session, you'll look forward to them and find ways to get out. And I'll personally offer, if any of our committee people apply and are accepted and need someone to come watch their place while they're going to ACE, I will do my best. I will travel. Just give me some heads up, and I will make the effort to come and help you out so you can travel for ACE. So I will make that offer. So please apply. You won't regret it. And I guess I don't think we have any collegiates on. If you're involved with collegiates at all, encourage them to do the student membership for $25 if you're in one of those areas. Miles or MCC or Bozeman got students that get them to buy that membership. So
Or actually any student.
Any student doesn't have to be involved in
anywhere.
Any student in the state.
Haver, Missoula.
HUB.
Yep. Anybody anywhere, if you know a college student, encourage them to get involved or join membership.
Yeah, and that would essentially make them an associate member at your county level or whatever. And they could be a member, if they're up there in Fergus County, but they're going to MSUB, making sure, be a Fergus County student member and still go to MSUB. So lots of options there. Just another way to get some members and get some engagement of those younger folks. So I guess with that, Sue-Ann, do you have anything?
That's it.
Does anyone else, is there anyone else who'd like to share anything with the group?
Sue-Ann, do we need to say anything about that one bylaw deal and make sure that's voted down? Was that maybe typed wrong by any chance? What's the deal there?
Yeah. It's probably going to get voted down, but I don't know if anybody read their policy packets. There is a bylaws change that was put forward from Phillips County, and bylaws changes can only be voted up and down, but it basically says that you have to be 35 years old to serve on the YF&R committee. I don't have it right in front of me, but it literally says 35. And so it doesn't say 18 to 35. It says 35, which basically, if you're taking at face value, you have to be 35 years old to serve on the YF&R committee.
That's going to really limit us.
And to be president of the United States. So, yeah.
So I think that just was worded wrong. I wasn't at the Phillips meeting. I don't know what was going on there, but it's unfortunate because when a bylaw is not quite right, it just
Yeah, it'll just fail.
It'll just fail. So yeah, Lacey noticed it. I didn't even know that it came in. So how to,
Yeah, I was just reviewing those today, and I didn't catch it either.
yeah, it's in the YF&R section of the bylaws changes. So
I think what they were trying to do is on the national level, you can't be 36, especially like for discussion meets and competitions. So I think they were trying to get to that. But I mean, make sure you guys take a look at it. But for some crazy reason, if it only says 35, make sure your districts don't pass it.
and just so you know, also we absolutely, we follow the rules when we're dealing with these competitions. But for instance, like Lacey's still serving on the committee. Lacey, you might be 36 right now, but she was, maybe she was 34 when she got voted in on a 2-year term. I mean, we're not like following the rules that much that we're kicking people off at 35. So that's something else to consider too. I mean, we're also not letting 45-year-olds or 50 or 55-year-olds on the committee. We're just, and we're not electing 36-year-olds either.
Yeah, and I think you're making a different distinction between someone who's elected at the county level than opposed to like someone who we would send to a national competition for like discussion meet would be different. And yeah, like you said, we're not electing someone who's 36. So, there's a little bit of latitude. I'll have to read it. I guess I was reviewing everything else today, and I did not look at the bylaws. On that topic, there will be a bylaws resolution better defining student membership. So I think it's something we talked about at a summer conference, at our summer Zoom meeting. And I helped craft it. But I think it's all the elements that the group had reviewed and discussed. So I don't think there should be anything in there. So definitely take a look at it and review with your own counties. I would like to make sure that gets passed. That's pretty much a kind of a housekeeping deal from voting in the student membership last year, and adding that definition about being a voting member versus non-voting member, what benefits they receive, and et cetera. So take a look at that one as well. And I'm going to definitely study up on this other one. And that's something else I encourage everyone else to do. Look at those resolutions, especially that you were discussing that are bylaws changes, and make sure you discuss them with your county or with your districts, because you're the one they'll be looking at for some advice on these YF&R topics. Anything else?
That's it. That was a lot for 1 hour.
That was a lot for 1 hour. I appreciate everyone participating and their patience for getting through it with us here in an hour, 15 minutes, and for all the great feedback and good ideas and participation and engagement. And I know a couple guys, driving, and I appreciate everyone taking the time out of their schedule kind of on this short notice impromptu to kind of discuss this evolving situation. And I appreciate everyone's dedication to the committee and wanting to get these things done. And I think we found a good balance for the discussion meet. And I think that's a great plan. So I appreciate all that. So if there's nothing else, I will adjourn the meeting and be looking for emails, communications from Sue-Ann and myself regarding how we're going to kind of structure this and everything else. And we'll go from there.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.